Yeah, not
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to Politics with Pan. I am your host, Christian Alexander, better known as Pan. I'm here with my good friend, my partner, Mr. Tristan Porter.
what up, what up, what up.
How you doing, brother? How you doing today?
Man, I'm blessed. Can't complain, can't complain. Or as I like to say, I guess I could, but it wouldn't change much. So
It ain't gonna
here we are.
change a damn thing. Ain't nothing gonna change with the complaining, man.
Yeah.
That boy in the bricks today on that
Yeah,
north.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
You already know GCP brick. You know how
yeah,
we do
yeah,
off the
yeah.
bank.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Over there on that north side. Shout out to J Dog. The bricks. Man, I used to listen to so much J Dog back in the day.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
Five no fold.
man.
Yeah, yeah. That's fold.
Oh man. Yo, so if y'all do not know, Tristan, this is Tristan's second appearance on the show. He was a guest when it was I don't even remember the name of the show, but since the rebrand, he is, making his second appearance. Tristan and I met each other through some political alliances in the political circle. We also have some friends. Being black in Houston is a small community. We just like to say that. For all of you people who come in from out of town and you feel like you just gonna get lost in the sauce and nobody's ever gonna see you again, that's a damn lie. Somebody is somebody's cousin who knows somebody from wherever, church, school, some community group. Like, it is ridiculously small here. But my tangent relates to this. Hence how I know Tristan through a bunch of different people, just because we're young black men in Houston doing cool shit. Tell them about yourself, man. Tell them who you are.
Yeah, man. Like you said, man. Tristan, I'm from Houston, originally North Side, Acres Home to be exact. I graduated from Clown Forest. Ended up going to Howard University, HU. You know what it is. I went there from '05 to 2010. I didn't finish up. I ended up finishing up from Georgetown. And Initially went for clinical lab science. Finished up liberal studies with a focus in public health policy. I kind of tied that into religion. If you know me growing up, man, super religious household, twice on Sunday, once on Wednesday, anything in between. Um, and initially, I think like anybody else in the rat race, my initial thought was, let's get to the money. I think I was intending to fold my clinical lab science into pharmacy.
Mhm.
Retail pharmacy, quick something Walgreens, CVS, quick money, 6 years, get in, get out. But life happens, man, throughout my early years in college, right around my junior year, kind of developed some depression and dealt with some things at home as far as my parents getting ill. And it kind of changed my outlook. And it kind of made me realize that it was more than the money, particularly dealing with health and health insurance and the outcomes. Is watching my parents. My dad's a double organ transplant patient, and so with that, that kind of moved me from wanting to be a pharmacist, a retail pharmacist, maybe a research pharmacist, and then within my break between school, I actually worked as a server at Papado, and I think that was good for me. It was a humbling experience. I don't know that I actually put any thought towards it initially, but
Mhm.
whatever I thought, I didn't think I should have been there. Um, but I discovered that I loved it though, because I love talking to people, meeting new people, helping people, serving people, and so that was great, and that led me to where I am today, and kind of still science, but more so working with people and wanting to do community work and talking to different people, and so that's how I kind of tied the public health aspect. Um, Most recently, I worked for the Center for Men's Health Equity in Georgetown in DC. That group is unfortunately no longer exists at Georgetown. It's at UPenn right now. And Within that, we had a program called Mighty Men, and it
Mhm.
focused on men who were in faith-based institutions. who are looking to, kind of better themselves, both physically and mentally. And it was a program that we kind of put on, provided them with some health equipment, health curriculum, some trainers at various churches. And it really turned out being great. And it opened my eyes just to how much religion ties into the overall health and well-being of individuals. And it really just, kind of where I went from where we went from there. I guess small and in between, and how I ended up kind of being interested in ministry again was I had a friend that committed suicide uh,
Mm.
in March 22. And I always tell people I don't know many people who knew the Bible better than him. And I kind of grew up kind of in a religious space that, we preach, know the Bible, the Bible is all you need to know. Bible, the Bible, the Bible. And he did that. And yet, it didn't help him um, in the end. And so that's when I realized, hey, it's more to it than just going to church, than just checking the boxes, than just reading the scriptures, regurgitating scriptures to people. And so, yeah, man, that's pretty much it, and where we are and how we got to where we are today. And so, yeah.
Damn, dog, I didn't know any of that.
Man,
I did not know. I would say one of my biggest downfall as a homie is I don't ask enough questions.
I'm the same way. I'm the
Yeah,
same way.
yeah, yeah. I do not ask enough questions, but it's interesting because during my transition from undergrad to graduate school, I was a server as well before I got into local politics the way that I am now today. I worked at Cheddar's and I worked at BJ's. And I really enjoyed like interacting with people and talking to them and hearing their different perspectives. And I would have my little political banters like on the job with, coworkers and customers and stuff like that. And when I really had an opportunity when I was in grad school to go and really, immerse myself in the process, that's when I decided to step away. But like you, like it definitely spurred something in me to make me want to be able to interact with people on a more personal level, and trying to figure out how to be able to do that without being in the confines of like an office or something was something that was, it was important for me to figure out. I would say that for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool, man. So today, y'all, we are going to talk about, Tristan segued into that, how religion plays a role in, he said public health, mental health, but also like our everyday lives, how our politics are shaped by it, how our communities are shaped by it, what that looks like from a black perspective, right? Like, and what's being taught in our churches and how our churches can, I think better play a role. If you listen to me, on this microphone, you know that I am extremely critical about a lot of shit. But one thing I am critical of is the church's participation in our black liberation. And my brother here is somebody who will stand on the mountaintops and whack his finger in your face and let you know that like faith without work is dead. And if you ain't doing nothing, like don't be saying nothing. So, we're gonna get into that. I'm not gonna spoil it. But this week's artist is somebody that is near and dear to my heart. My little brother, it's the Domino Baby. I have been pushing him to get back into his ministry, secular. But that's how he connects with the world. It's how he connects with people. And the boy is good, like they said on what's that movie? What's that edit? Coming to America. That boy good. Like that boy good. Like, so, and he is indeed good. And I'm not just, tooting the horn because he is my La Familia. I am a tough critic. And if his music was some bullshit, I would not play it. I would not do that. So, with all of that said, we're going to get into the first track. It's one of my favorites. It's a nice little summertime spring groove, something you can jam to. It is called Major Flavor.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The type of gas I smoke, you smell it through the bag. We smoking OG, that dark on the top bag. You looking next to me, baby, so just relax. Ooh, while we smoking major flavors, no cap. Speaking them bags, you like when I get you that. You looking good in that drip I put on your ass. Compared your life and put that band in the past. You have to put some major flavor on that. Don't act tough, I look good up in these buffs. You'll get snuffed, my feet white just like some Dove, yeah. Talk to me nice, or my bitch will beat you up. She like a swan and your bitch a ugly duck, yeah. Just look at us, we don't give 1, 2, 3, 4 folks. She pull my dress when I'm in that bed, I beat it up, yeah. Major flavor, I just got my breakfast catered, yeah. She's so thick and fine and my bitch from Decatur, yeah. Major flavor, I just got my outfit tailored, yeah. Came to the table, you should go and be a waiter, yeah. This H for Houston, your H must just stand for hater, yeah. My Florida niggas, they gon' snap you like a gator, yeah, yeah. The type of guys I smoke, you smell it through the bag. We smoking OG, that dark in the top bag. You looking next to me, baby, so just relax. And while we smoking major flavors, no cap. Speaking them bags, you like when I get you that. You looking good in that drip I put on your ass. Compared your life and put that band in the past. You had to put some major flavor on that.
I told you that boy was good.
Thank Bob.
I told you that boy was good. That is it's the Domino Baby with major flavor, right? Brought to you here live, exclusively on Politics with Pen. Yo,
Eat.
you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, I'm trying to break good music. Like I don't think there's enough people breaking fire underground music. In the way that I would appreciate it being done. So I'm doing it the way I think it should be done. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
I got a couple of tracks, man, from some cats that I know. A guy I used to work with in restaurants. He had something I think is nice, and a young cat I met in Acres Home, man. I was actually doing some Ubering the other
Yeah.
day, man. I was kind of inspired by a church I used to go to. A minister there, he did some Ubering kind of for some research purposes, so that kind of inspired me, of course, during this tough economic time we're in too. Need as
Yeah.
much money as I can any way we can. But yeah, anyway, point being, met this young guy, man, who was like, man, I rap. He was like, I was like, all right, let me hear. A lot of people say that, but man, it was actually good, man. I might have to send that
Yeah.
stuff over so you can
Yeah, please. You know what I'm
just work
saying?
it.
Like,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah, yeah.
I know next week, I got another featured artist, you know what I'm saying? Triple D Born, my boy Z Jethro. He gonna be on. But the week after that, I think I might want to, mix it up a little bit. I got a couple submissions that I've had, you know what I mean? So, break some people that I don't know personally, right? I've been, I'm on my
Yeah.
French Montana right now, right? I've created my own platform to put my own people on. And then, once it's big, you feel me, then we'll talk turkey. Right, but you know what I'm saying? If I got someone that I can use to spread love, help show my people's talents and share their ideas and things like that, I think this is the time and the place. And if you ain't gonna do it, who gonna do it?
That's a good question.
I do want to ask before I, get into these current events with you. Tell me a little bit more about this Ubering for research, because that, I have aspirations to do a black sentiment study, right? Like in Harris County. I want to, there isn't any prevalent data that specifically speaks to like the black condition that we, what I'm saying, and I say we, I say HBAD, right? And organizations like us that, want to go out and disseminate messages to the black community. There isn't any information that's readily available about like what black Houstonians feel specifically. And I've been trying to figure out the best vehicle to be able to find this out.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's pretty simple. I mean, people get in, and people talk. You know,
Yeah,
man, one thing I realized kind of being like a Uber driver, you almost turn into people's therapist.
right, right,
You'd
right.
be surprised, some of the things that people are willing to share, or even just conversations they're willing to have, with you in the car. So man, you can just pick up and learn some things and learn different ticks. I say for research purposes. Now, the gentleman I learned it from was my preacher in North Carolina, Brother Orlando Thomas, great guy. Southside Church of Christ in Durham. I give him a plug. If you're ever in Durham, check him out. You'll be blessed. Um, Man, and his was from the aspect of, financially. Just to see, and he did Lyft, not Uber, if I remember correctly, and just to see how much people made and see how much tipping mattered.
Hmm.
Um, and the point of his message was the tipping was symbolic of going over and beyond, right? And as a Christian, you should go over and beyond. But sometimes we don't realize or understand the necessity of until we're willing to put ourselves in the position of somebody else. And typically, what we understand or what we believe about Uber drivers is that these are people who, for lack of a better, maybe you believe they aren't degreed, or I think we assume that people are in these professions because, well, for me, it was something I needed, because I needed something quick. um but maybe you just can't find it anywhere else. So we tend to look at these service jobs like serving, Uber driving, with you working with
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
kind of looking down, right? And I think it was a way to put yourself in that person's position, and really kind of also so that you never know who the driver is, because yeah, it could be a person that's down and out, or it could be a minister just there just to see. And so I think
Yeah.
that was good from that aspect. For me, it was good because it was during primary season down here, and so
Mm.
naturally, you avoid politics as much as possible. But with so much going on in the country and the world today, it's kind of hard to avoid it. And so from that, man, just being able to have different conversations, ask different questions, you can really kind of get a good bead on how people think and where they are right now. So yeah.
I like that, man. I'm actually gonna take my. I'm gonna try that method. I might go into some Facebook Uber groups and see if I can get some people to, you know, do my survey.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See if they just like volunteer. Like, hey, I gotta figure it out. But
Yeah.
definitely need that data, and that is a very, very, very good way to be able to get it. Now, my, I think my subjects might be skewed. I think so because what class of people use Uber the most, right? Like, and would it be diverse enough? I guess is my question.
I,
If I do
I
it
think
that way,
so.
you
I
think
think
so?
so. Because
Yeah, you think?
Houston being as diverse as it is, man, I've picked up people in Memorial.
Yeah,
I picked up people from Red Roof Inn,
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
that are turned into apartments. So, I mean, you really get all types of people,
Hmm,
all types,
okay,
all
I'm,
types. Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely try that. I'm gonna definitely try that. Now, going into what you were saying, all the stuff that's going on in the world, right? Have you seen the Juicy skit?
I have. I saw it last night. Saw it last night.
Like, how do I appreciate a good roast. I appreciate it, and he laid into her. Now, I personally don't pay attention to Erica Kirk or Candace Owens or any of the trad wife influencers. I don't pay them any mind. But when people shine lights, you look right. And Drewski shined a very bright light on, what I'm saying, the Turn the Point USA movement, the trad wife, conservative, anti-feminism movement. And there were people who was calling him like a fat retard and like all kinds of stuff. Like, and these the Jesus people.
Mhm.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, like they are, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, they went left on him. Like, and I jumped into a rabbit hole about her, and somebody said she a Mossad agent. Now I'm not gonna go that far.
Mhm. Listen, man. Yeah. So, yeah, from it's really hard to say. Um, with anything, and I'll start backwards with the Mossad agent stuff. I was listening to them talk about the files that were recovered at Mar-a-Lago
Yeah,
with Jack Smith. And they talked about one of the documents being so sensitive that only six people within the government were able to see it. And it's like, with stuff floating around like that, with stuff so secretive, it's really hard to say.
Yeah.
who was doing what and who's a part of what. So I think the best you did best by saying, hey, I hear it, but it's something we'll probably never know, um, truthfully, unless I don't know, something incredibly insane happens, but I doubt it because they won't even release the Epstein files. Never mind releasing, who's working as a spy or whatnot for other
Right. Right.
foreign entities. Um, but as far as people's reaction, man, I think you have a couple of things. I think there's a genuine reaction that people have because people view religion and gender as something that's like not just a part of them, but it is who they are,
Hmm.
right? Like, my job is so you can talk about, people who do this job or that job. I mean, that's cool. That's my job. That's not who I am. Some people go to a job because they're trying to survive, not because they love the job,
Hmm.
right? Versus, a religion or even gender today, where it seems like it's something that you choose, right? And so it's something that's an intensely personal choice. When it seems like that it's attacked, then it seems like it's personal,
Hmm.
um, as opposed to a critique on the institution at large. And so I think you have that wave, I think you have that group of people um, who are offended, but I don't think that's the group that you hear about um, that you hear making the most noise, right? That you hear
Hmm.
with the kind of the nasty rhetoric, the unchristian like spirit. I don't think that's the group you hear. The other group is the group who uses Christianity, right, or uses religion um, as a way, or uses the power that the religion provides as a way to kind of move their own agendas forward, right?
Yeah.
And you'd have a problem with this being called out or a light being shined on this because you have followers who support it,
Yeah.
right? And if you have the genuine Christians, right, the people who really genuinely believe that they're following the right thing, who realize that they're in a group with people who pretend to be genuine, but they aren't, right? And now they kind of see it because somebody else has made fun of it. You have a problem
Hmm.
with that because now you stepping on my product, if you will, and what I'm
Yeah.
using as a way to essentially grift, these people out of their money.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think that's the reaction. The reaction that you see, the name calling, isn't from people who truly identify with a Christ-like spirit, or people who would do the things that Christ would say, but rather people who use Christ in an effort to get their own agenda forward. Like think Christian nationalism.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm seeing that a lot, like especially amongst white Americans, it's particularly white people within the MAGA movement. It does look like they are slowly, like there's this crack in the wall that is widening day by day by day. It's hard for them with all of the different hypocritical things that are coming out of the administration, like them not releasing the Epstein files, like us going to war with Iran, where there's supposed to be no war, says Trump, right? Like using Christianity as a weapon to be able to even justify the war, right? Saying that you should be all for this because Jesus was a Jew, and because Jesus was a Jew, you as an American should want to protect the Jews if you're a Christian. Now, like how we put those Legos together, I don't fucking know, right? Like, and it makes no sense. But I do think it does give, I think it leaves a stain, right? Like, and right now with religion, specifically Christianity, right? Because that is the one that is being weaponized. I think the actions of like white Christian nationalists and people adjacent to them are leaving a stain on something otherwise, what I'm saying, clean, right? Like it would, but they're not, because of the way that it's being weaponized and the cognitive dissonance that the people who are saying like I'm with this, but they're like, oh, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Like, right? It's almost like I left the house without my umbrella, and I'm saying it's cool until it's not cool. Like,
Yep.
and everybody, yeah, everybody getting wet now, and the like I said, I went on my Erica Kirk rabbit hole, and I went and looked and seen, what the opposition was saying, and saw, what the people who were with her were saying, and it does seem like a huge grift, right? Like it does seem very, very, very much so scripted. And then you got Candace Owens, who, I don't really have too many nice things to say about either, right? Like who is telling women basically that you don't have power, you're not supposed to have nothing because you're just supposed to be in the house barefoot, pregnant, doing, submitting to your man and not being your own self. Which, if you want to be a traditional wife, that's fine. Like, ain't nobody shitting on you. But also, like, stand in your power, sister. You know what I mean? Like, don't let this rich upper middle class, or whatever she is, she got bread and she is a career woman and she's out there doing her thing. She gonna tell you that you shouldn't be doing your thing, that you shouldn't be empowered. Like, see the writing on the wall, bro. Like, what's happening here? Like, she is living off of your ignorance, and that's not cool.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you hit on something important about, I guess, it, it's feeling distasteful, right?
Yeah,
Christianity leaving a nasty taste in your mouth. And I think that's because, right, when you see, so if you, again, I think one thing that we don't do as Christians, teachers, preachers, whoever, is that we don't do enough to make the Bible practical to today, right? Like
yeah,
we teach it as if we live within the same cultural norms and standards of the Bible. And that's just not the case. But in trying to kind of make it more relatable is what I tell people. So when I look at it like this: if you look at Christianity, as a family, as a last name,
hmm
you have people who are essentially lying on your family, right? They are dragging your name through the mud, with their behavior, with the things that they say Christianity stands for, and it's just not true. And
yeah,
so if I were to hear somebody lying about my dad or what he stood for or what he believed in, I would speak up and say something about it. The problem is there aren't a lot of people who are quote unquote true Christians or genuine Christians who are
yeah,
speaking up and saying something about it. I think that's what's so unique about James Tallarico as a Democrat, right?
yeah,
Because true enough, you have Democrats who are Christians, but you don't have any who wear their faith in the way that he does and use their faith to push back and call out and rebuke the way that Republicans or the Christian right or the way Christian nationalists use Christianity, right?
yeah.
Because you don't. Go ahead.
Oh, no, my bad. Finish your statement. Finish your thought.
No, just yeah, and because you don't have enough of that, you end up with kind of the bad look or the bad reputation that Christianity has, because all people see then are the Erica Kirk version types of Christians, and who wants to be a part of that?
Yeah, I think James Tallarico's brand. I've always thought that when he decided he was going to run, and before then, when I would see clips about him and I would like read about him and stuff like that, I always thought that his brand was one that would resonate with a lot of Texans, just because Texans, it doesn't matter what color you are deeply tied to their faith, and faith navigates so many different things that happens to us every day, even down to a governmental level. So knowing what these people are thinking and what is bringing them to these points, right? Like being able to understand like what it is that they believe intrinsically is really important to understanding the electorate and as well as understanding the person that we elected to sit in the seat. Because usually, especially if you live in a southern state, faith is driving the decisions of this person, right? Like, and we've seen faith weaponized against people of color, marginalized people for decades and decades and decades. And I think that the Drewski skit is really calling out the hypocrisy that is existing amongst white Christian nationalists, right? She got on TV and said, they need white men with conviction to like stand up, right? Like, don't let anybody disenfranchise you, especially white young men, right? Like, because Like I've been saying, in which no disrespect to none of my white homies, you feel me? And if you feel as though I'm saying something that is incorrect, I would please encourage you to chastise me in the comments and tell me where I'm wrong. But everywhere I it is being painted as though white people are under attack, white culture is being disseminated, that whiteness is, no longer, I guess, like valid. I mean, I don't know who it was necessarily valid to before, but right, like it's like we are at a point, right? Going to my next point, right? The Attorney General of Florida wants to get rid of the Rooney Rule. The hell wrong with him? What did black people do to him? What did black coaches do to him? Like, why? Like, these teams are already owned by billionaires who are, most of the time, very white. The NFL is 70% black, 76. There's a lot of Negroes catching and throwing that pigskin. Like, it is basically a black sport. Like, it has been that way since they let Negroes into space. And you want, like, I'm so tired of white people saying, y'all not smart enough to lead. Like, I'm over that shit. Like, I'm over it being you're not bright enough to be in charge of who other black people. Like this, and this is black men fighting to be leaders of other black men. There's always got to be some white man at the helm of a bunch of niggas, dog. Like, and you got the appointed, which this guy has to run for re-election again in Florida. I just want black Floridians, right? All my cousins, family in Jacksonville, Florida, please be aware of what's happening. And this man that Ron DeSantis appointed to be the Attorney General is now trying to tell the NFL that it has to un-DEI itself because there are too many black coaches, and the good old boy system that where they tap the white boys on the shoulder and say, yeah, you was a wide receiver coach at a school that had a record that was always under 500, but we're going to make you the head coach of what? I think the New York Giants, the biggest media market in the world. Over how many black coaches don't have jobs right now? Like,
Yeah, that's crazy because I think it's only like what 2, 3 black coaches in the NFL right now.
maybe with jobs, like with actual jobs, right? Because
Yeah,
Eric,
yeah.
I can't pronounce his name. Eric Bieniemy,
The enemy. I
Bieniemy.
think he was in college last. I think he had Aaron Glenn in the Jets. Of course, you got D'Amico down here in H Town.
Mm-hmm.
They
Todd Bowles
right,
in Tampa Bay.
and you had so that's the 3 because you had Raheem Morris in Atlanta, but he got fired.
Yeah, he got fired.
Um, but I mean, to your point, to the question, I mean, the Florida AG, man, and this is something that's been popularized and said that when you're used to uh living in privilege, right?
mm-hmm.
Equality feels like discrimination. And so I mean, I think there's a term called white normativity, right? Where like whiteness has become the standard, right?
White
And then
normativity.
white normativity, right? And so with
Say
everything,
that with us, class. White
yeah, white
normativity.
normativity, right? And
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
where
I like that.
everything white is considered normal,
Yeah.
right? And anything from that is a deviation. And
Mm.
so within that mindset, even is the idea, right, that they're so far ahead, right? That
Yeah.
the idea that we could even catch up or be equal to, for some, I think it's just something that it's unfathomable. And
Yeah.
so you make up these nonsensical rules. You create, monsters that don't exist. So same thing, something else I didn't mention. So at Georgetown, I'm a descendant of the GU 272. So if you've never heard of that, in the early
No.
1800s, in the
Please,
early eight
explain.
yeah, in the early 1800s, Georgetown bought and sold 272 plus slaves. Well, they sold them to a slave owner in Louisiana.
Word.
Um, Now I think it became big news. I want to say in 2014, and it was even discovered that Georgetown itself was built over the grave some of the former slaves. And so if you go to Georgetown's campus, you will see there's a like a small graveyard for like the white Jesuit priests, that's kind of dignified and marked off. And then there are some dorm rooms, dorms and education buildings kind of built over the land where the black slaves who built Georgetown were buried. So
Mm.
point being, and my family, we are descendants. This probably deserves its own podcast. Crazy, but one of the things. So Georgetown has a reconciliation program, to where
Ah.
they quote unquote try to make good with the families allegedly, right, who were victims of this sale. Part of the setup is that you have to be able to prove lineage. And we had some help with that from the Georgetown Memory Project, which is a group of Georgetown alum who were really dedicated to kind of righting the wrongs that the school has done. But it's interesting though because what Georgetown won't do is give money or scholarships directly to descendants of the people who were sold, and they say because it can't be race based. And so my pushback was, well, don't make it race based, right? Just give the scholarships to the descendants of the people who were sold in slavery. Now, if
Yeah,
they all just so happen to be black, well,
yeah.
that's not our fault, right? Because
Mm.
this isn't a race-based reconciliation or reparation or restoration. It's based solely off the ledger, right, of people that you sold. But of
Hmm.
course, if they do that, they know that all the people are black.
Yeah, they don't want to help you niggas.
Right. And so to do that would be equity, right? It would
Yeah.
bring us back to where we should be anyways, which was on an equal playing field with them in the first place.
Right
And
on.
so, in all aspects and all industries, man, you have that true concern. And I remember years ago, I saw a white person on social media. A white person's biggest fear is that if black people gain power or ever gain the position that white people have, right, or have experienced, that we would do to them what they've done to us, right?
Yeah, I've seen that, and I know that some brothers and sisters they will put white people through the rigmarole. Like, I mean, I'm not even going to write whoever, white man, white lady, whoever said that. In some cases, that is going to be very much so true. Not even going to cap you down. But my pushback to their thought is that's not who we are.
There you
Like
go.
we're not that, right? Like and history has proven that time and time and time again that we are a compassionate, welcoming, loving group of people. Like, like we will fight if provoked, but like we're not just finna torture and fuck over people like for whatever gain may be, when maybe have, right? Like you see it time and time, right? We are descendants of chattel slavery. So every Negro in America is white, is black, is Hispanic, is Native American. You don't know who was out there humping in the woods. Nobody has a clue. We didn't have birth certificates for a long time. People was just loose, humping, trying to survive. So you got black people with chinky eyes, you got black people with high cheekbones, you got white looking black people, like you got all kinds of us. And this is the direct byproduct of a bunch of people outside in the woods humping, trying to survive. Like, and
And
some
you
of
know
them
what?
couldn't even talk to each other.
And not even, you know what? And not even just out in the woods humping. I think this is an under talked about point of slavery. We always talk about, like, the picking the cotton, working the fields, but there was sex slaves, right?
There
Like,
was.
there were whole plantations dedicated solely to
The
reproduction.
practice of breeding. You know what?
Like,
Show you right. I was just watching that on YouTube the other day about the breeding plantations. Like, and that's some shit they ain't never teach us about.
because like
Like, Yeah, I mean, you know, like it think about it, make me want to cry. Like, you know, those poor people. Like, God, you know what? I just don't understand it. And they all, and the people who committed these atrocities say they love God. Like, I got an argument with somebody the other day, and we're gonna move forward, but we can touch back on this. I don't believe, right? Like, yes, everybody's a Christian, but I don't believe we serve the same God. I don't believe that. Like, I do not believe that. Like, there's nothing in my mind with everything that I have seen with thine eyes makes me believe that we are all on dropping to our knees in prayer and talking to the same deity. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. Somebody can jump in the comments and you can argue me down. We'll get to it. But if you can make me believe that a person that will hang a Negro from a tree and set him on fire and cut off his nuts is praying to the same God that Negro is praying to, that he could keep his nuts, you got me bent. It doesn't even make sense, dog. It don't make sense. I'm praying to keep my nuts and you cutting them off and you gonna go to church and then you gonna thank the Lord for giving you another day? The same Lord? Come on now. I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get off my
No,
horse.
that's no, that's good. So, because you know what, and I think because it's kind of, I think this deals with some of the other topics that you have. So I think we as I always ask, Christians, like, like, what's your main purpose as a Christian? Like, what are you trying to do? Like, what do you think your main goal? Either you, or what do you believe Jesus told you your main goal is? Right? And I always say, Jesus told his followers, because they weren't even Christians yet, in Matthew, in the
Mm-hmm,
gospel.
mm-hmm.
But he said, go out into all the world, baptizing, making believers out of everybody. And a lot of Christians don't do that. And I think if we did, right, we would be forced to confront more thoughts like the one you just had, right?
Yeah.
Because there's not an easy answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not an easy way to explain how my ancestors on one end,
Mm-hmm.
um, can be getting pummeled, right? Praying for relief, while the same person who's doing the pummeling is thanking God for all that he has. Like, it's hard to reconcile that and to ask people for that to make sense.
You know what I
Uh,
mean? Tell the people to like, don't tell them, tell them something that makes some goddamn sense, baby. That's what I'm, something that makes some sense. Cause why, God? Why? Why? Right? And don't tell me to go back into the Old Testament and look what Moses went through. Look what Job went through. Look how they had to suffer. And like look at the suffering. Don't point me to the suffering scriptures to be able to justify this bullshit that my people are going through. Like, cause when is deliverance? Motherfucker been telling me God coming back since I was 6. I've been waiting for the rapture. You remember they had that movie? What's that movie? Scared the shit out of me.
man, you know what, man? I grew up, again, man. My faith tradition. So we're very very fundamentalist. So like the
Yeah.
Rapture movie, that was something that they shut down very quickly. Like, yeah, don't worry about that. That's not biblical. Whatever, yada yada. Um, so eh, this goes to the picking and choosing
Yeah.
of the scripture too, because I think if we take our time and read the Bible, we find biblical characters who have the exact same thoughts.
Yeah.
Why, God? How
Mm-hmm.
long, God? Why you let this happen to us?
Yeah.
Why you letting this nation come trample us, right?
Yeah.
And I think if we allow people to explore those verses as well, right, instead of
Mm-hmm.
forcing people to only read, and I say we as ministers, teachers, forcing people to go over the same things, regurgitate, and deal with the difficult scriptures, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they aren't as difficult as they seem. But when you never deal with them, and you have people like yourself, like, who read, who know, and like you have these questions, you get a lot of people who get frustrated because they don't have an answer. And sometimes as ministers, teachers, theological students, we should be able to say, I don't know.
You know, I will respect that.
Yeah, I can admit that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
I can admit that's hard to accept, right? And when we can do that from our end, from the faith end, it makes the conversation easier to have, and then the mending can begin, right? And
yeah,
so I think that's something that we need to work on from our end, because I mean you raise a very valid point. It's very hard to reconcile and make sense out of, because so man, so my church specifically, right? We are again very Bible thumpers. Got to know the Bible, got to know Scripture. Um, and I remember growing up, they used to always say ignorance is not an excuse. Like not knowing is not an excuse. It's like, if you don't know, you're not gonna be able to get the judgment and say, I don't know. And it sounded good at the time when I believed um unequivocally like that the Bible was perfect as is.
hmm
Um Now I'm not so sure, right? Like in my relearning and my re-engaging the church, I've been trying to relearn everything. And so I don't say one way or another what is or is not. Um, but I just find it hard to believe that because there are, multiple, I guess, versions of the Bible exist. And I won't say translations, but versions.
yeah,
If you look at like the canonization, books were, sometimes added, taken out, replaced over time. But there was a copy used particularly during slavery, and it had
hmm
any book that dealt with like liberation, equity, anything like that was removed, right? And
yeah,
so they had a very redacted copy of the Bible. And
hmm
so at some point it clicked. I'm like, well, they didn't have the Bible that I had, right? And
yeah,
so what there were some scriptures that you know, were necessary for quote unquote salvation that they just didn't have because they were in this predicament for so long,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I was like, if the God you serve
hmm
will send these people to hell for something that they didn't have and had no control over it, that's not a God I'm interested in serving.
I had this conversation at the Boondocks the other night with a brother. I had this conversation. These are conversations always happen in bars. Like I had this conversation with a sister at another bar, right? And like she was arguing me down, like it's just one. And I'm like, it can't just be one. Like it can't be. Like it can't be. Like it can't be. But we're gonna get back to this. We're gonna get back into this. We're gonna get back into this because I got some more questions and we'll be here all day. I do want to make a comment about gas being $6 in California. That shit makes no sense. Government, every politician, right? I'm gonna look right at the camera. Am I doing this right? Am I looking at the camera? This is my moment, right? Fuck is wrong with y'all? These people need their paycheck. It's not cool, bruh. Like everybody in Congress right now that is getting a check, walking around getting lobbyists to pay for your food and doing all of this other kind of shit. That shit is whack. These people make $35,000 a year in an economy where gas is $6. People are quitting their jobs. They're going to work Uber and doing all kind of odd shit because they can't figure out how to feed their kids. And y'all is in there with this Unitarian Party shit, doing all this weirdness. Y'all is fucking with these people's lives, and it is pissing me off. Y'all need to do the right thing. That is Democrats and Republicans. All of this back and forth about ICE and shit. Y'all playing with these people's lives over a goddamn policy. You need to get it together. It is, what's wrong with y'all? Like, I don't get it. November is coming, and the people gonna remember. The North remembers. All right, I'm done. I had to get it out. I said I was gonna scream at them when I got on this whole day, and I needed to get it out because that shit is fucked up, bro.
Yeah. You know what? And that's good because you know what? I had this discussion, it was the day before yesterday, because it's not even about ICE, right? Trump, he kind of showed his hand. It's the Save Act.
Bruh.
Because remember, I think it was, is it Toon Thune? I know how you pronounce his name, but the Senate Republican, they said he approached him with a deal to fund everything except ICE, and he was like, no. unless Democrats pass the SAVE Act.
Yeah, like
Right.
it is. It's the Save Act and it's the ICE thing. Like they're not trying to concede anything at all. Like and the it's the pettiness, right? It is the lack of work being done, right? And I get it, right? Everybody they go up there, they're doing the best they can. That's bullshit. No one cares. Do your goddamn job. Send these people back to work, bro. This is how many? What number government shutdown we've had? Number 3.
At least.
These people just stopped getting paid. Like, where's the relief? Where's the like? These people that missed. They done missed a second check, bro. They done missed a second check in the middle of a wartime where gas, a gallon of gas costs the same as a gallon of milk, and it take you a while to drink a gallon of milk. What we doing? Republicans, Turning Point USA, the CPAC, they meeting in Dallas right now. I hope y'all putting y'all goddamn heads together, trying to figure out how to help the American people. Well, y'all up there. I hope y'all not trying to figure out how to make 2020 Project 2025 or whatever the fuck the number is better. Put some thinking caps on and figure out how to get this shit done. Because in November, if you want to keep your seat, you're gonna lose it. Because the public, they're not trying to hear this hold on shit. No one cares. No one cares. People want their money. People want to feed their kids. Like, stop playing politics and get something done. Like, it makes nobody's doing anything. Chuck Schumer get on the news and yeah, we feeling like this. And then you get a Republican guy get on the news and we feeling like that. And you got Caesar and Cornyn fighting at the airport outside in front of the cameras while there are people in there not getting paid, but they getting paid. That's the cold part. If you stand in solidarity with the people, don't take a paycheck. How about that? I don't give a damn what side of the aisle you on. If you stand in solidarity with the people, don't take a paycheck. Donate your paychecks to the TSA workers. How about that? Most of y'all got it. Y'all are lawyers, doctors, entrepreneurs. Y'all got some bread. Take a loan. Like, give your money, Congress people, senators, give your money to the TSA people. Start a pool if you're standing in solidarity with the people and pay the people. Get up off it, bro. Come up out that bread, dog. 2 weeks, these people, $35,000 a year, bro.
It's funny. It's funny because it's so I know we're not gonna. I clearly gonna have to come back looking at the sheet to deal with the rest of it. But the lack of involvement, right, from the Republican side is kind of funny. So Pew Research released a study last year. I want to say February 2025 from their religious landscape study. And so they do it probably like every 7 to 10 years, I want to say. And in America, how religious you are, or how religious a person is almost directly aligned with their political affiliation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the more religious a person is, the more likely they tend to be Republican. And Republicans, both the politicians and their constituents, tend to want less government involvement.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Mm-hmm.
the politicians don't have to, right? Because their constituents don't want them to. Because religiously, right, they've been misled into believing that life is about individual righteousness as opposed to communal salvation,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
so when you operate that way, you vote, you champion, you cheer for policies that affect you as a person instead of the individual at large, instead of the community at large, right? And that mindset, quite frankly, is one that is antithetical to what Christ stands for.
That's not the Jesus way. None of this is the Jesus way. None of what is happening in our nation's capital is the Jesus way. Jesus wouldn't have none of this bullshit that's going on. You know it, I know it, they all know it. This is not how Jesus moves. And I'm extremely disappointed in our government, just period. right now, just the way that things are going. Um, I know that we got to be able to rally, but I don't know honestly, like with just the inability for Democrats to be able to directly enact change is killing us on the PR battle. It is killing us. It's like they need to do something drastic to show people we give a fuck. Because right now it don't seem like nobody give a fuck. Like at all. No, like we don't care at all. That's what it seemed like. And it's a travesty. It's I'm off my soapbox. I'm off of it. All right. So, you know what I'm saying? We running down, we got a little bit more time left. I'm gonna get into these questions, right? We're gonna do these pretty rapid fire, right? I'm trying this, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying this new thing, right? I'll be listening to NPR a lot now. I don't even listen to the radio no more. I mean to Spotify, none of that no more. I just get in the car, turn on NPR like I'm 97 and just listen to the news all day. But it's actually very interesting. Shout out my boy Andre Wagner to put me on game. So on the show they have I can't remember what the game is called, but it just asks a bunch of questions and one question, quick answer, one question, quick answer, but get your full thought out, right? Like don't cut it off, but we're gonna go from question to question to question. Hopefully we can get some good content out of this. All right, cool. So my first question is, what do you believe the church's role is in helping communities understand and respond to political systems and crises?
That's a tough one. Because all right. So the church's role should be, again, and so I kind of mentioned it earlier, in making practical, right, the teachings of Christ and how they fit in the context, or in our society today, in the culture today. And so in Acts 2, at the end of Acts 2, you kind of get where this is like the establishment of the first church, first Christians, and it talked about them selling their goods, their properties, and then bringing the monies to the apostles for them to distribute as the people needed, and so that everybody had the common good, right? And so now one would say, like today, well, I don't have a bunch of land that I can sell or a bunch of property to sell to then go give to money to the leaders at the church and expect them to distribute it through the community. That's not the way
Mm-hmm.
the culture works today. The way the
Mm-hmm.
culture works today is that you pay tax, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, which I mean, you paid taxes back then, right? And so, like, even Jesus himself was an advocate of paying taxes. He paid taxes. He
Yeah.
just wasn't an advocate of improper taxes, or like people taking advantage of taxes in places they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, like, and kind of relating that, be like, hey, listen, you can't sell your property, or sell your goods in the way that they did during this time. But this is how you make sure that the money you make is distributed evenly to better help and build up the community. The
Yeah.
issue though, the issue though, is that the church can't respond to the political system or the crisis because as of right now, the church supports it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All
And so
right.
you can't respond to something that you're supporting. Right. If
Okay.
that makes sense.
So, okay. Well, I'm gonna have to skip my second question because you answered it. So, in today's America, in your opinion, what can the church do to help Black families thrive in this capitalist system that we live in right now?
Um to help them understand that capitalism is anti-Christ. I mean, I just, Christ is about, there's a parable of the rich young ruler, right? So the rich young ruler, he came to Jesus, oh, I've done everything, I've done the right thing, what else, what all do I need? And Jesus told him, sell all that you have, give to the poor, and follow me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we as Black people, in America, man, we have to do more of supporting each other, kind of picking up people's slack, where they're lacking. Again, I'm not telling you to go out and, sell one of your cars, but you should be voting for a tax rate that's fair,
Yeah.
that's marginal, and that will allow the governments, local, state, federal, to take care of people who are less fortunate.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So, do you think, and I think I know the answer to this, do you think churches are living up to their responsibility as stewards of public health and well being?
No.
That's a quick answer. All right, cool.
Gotta make it time.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, like, that's I mean, and if you have been listening, or if if you own now, this gonna be up later. You can go back through, but he did go through this, right? The public health thing, which I didn't know when I was answering these questions, is a huge part of Tristan's ministry. So he has already spoken on how he thinks that the church should be able to, how the church should
Let me.
in these spaces.
I'll go further with that. I'll go further with
Yeah.
that. So just because and this is something that I'm newly trying to chase down. But in dealing with like stress and talking about neuroscience and how the body responds to different stress. There was another prompt that you had about ICE in airport. That we skipped over, but I really want to talk about, and there's a concept called panopticism, right? And it's about surveillance. And really it's a way that authority gets you to kind of to kind of self-report, kind of self-surveil.
Hmm.
And what happens is that, so even when someone's not watching you, there's always a feeling of somebody watching you. So if you think of like at a job, you have like a general manager. There's
Hmm.
one, that's the boss. He can't see everything, so then he has managers below him. And
Yeah.
then below the managers, they're supervisors. And then below the supervisors, they're shift. All of these people serve as eyes for the general manager. And
Yeah.
that's, if you are slacking and messing up, you trying to avoid the gaze of this person. And
Hmm.
so, but the thing is, so even when that person's not there, because he has all of these other eyes around, it always feels like you're being seen anyways. Well, religion works in the
Yeah.
same way. Religion
Hmm.
works in the same way. And so, because we live a life, especially if you grew up, being threatened with hell and sin, every other day, you live a life, stressed, worried about sinning.
Yeah.
Especially, and then you couple that with, I could die any second. Am I
Yeah.
gonna die in my sin? And so there's a lot of stress tied with how people process
Ooh.
day-to-day life. And
Damn.
stress then shows up physically, right?
Yeah.
And so like there's a whole chain of illnesses and diseases that can be traced to
Yeah.
how religion is taught,
Hmm.
the super controlling nature of it. It's
Ooh.
just not good, for health, and for mental health, and mental stability. And so that's why I say, because I mean the country as a whole is wholly and fully unequipped to deal with mental health issues, and that is especially true for the church. So
Ooh,
no,
that boy spitting. Ooh, that boy,
no.
man. That's clipped. That is clipped. That's going on TikTok right there. Yeah, that's a clip. That's a clip. Look, I got a couple more questions, but I done got carried away in conversation and forgot I'm supposed to be playing music. Yo, so I got a couple more questions. We're gonna rock out a little bit longer, maybe about 10, 15 more minutes. Um, Second track from my little bro, it's the Domino Baby. If you don't know, you will know. Make sure you follow on all social media channels. Uh, New music will be dropping, it will be uploaded, and I will be sharing. If I got your phone number and you got mine, know that you're gonna get a text message. Cause we finna blow up the airways with this one. Um, this next track is, I'm actually on this song, but I'm not gonna play my verse. Um, just due to time constraints. But you will hear it if you search It's the Domino Baby on Spotify, Apple Music, where all music is played. It's called Memphis. We decided to make this song. I really like Project Pat, 8 Bar MJG, huge Memphis rap fan. My brother's a producer. He actually produced this beat. And it made him think about Memphis, so we named the song Memphis. Pretty easy title. This is It's the Domino featuring myself and Nasty Buck, Memphis. Oh, gotta turn it up.
Domino baby. Bitch. Say. Yeah. Say, it's the domino, baby. I probably could fuck on your lady right now if I could. Get this bread on the daily, could flip you a pack, but right now I'm just stuffing the wood. Go see my auntie on the block and her on clock. Now I'm tipping through the hood. Hurricane Harvey, I been through the flood. Call me Mr. Get It Out the mud. All that I needed was a little budge. Get to the money, keep it on the hush. Dig your bitch down if you don't want her to fuss. Keep you up on if you money with us. My little heater, leave your ass in the dust. Cocking it back, that's to knock out the rust. We knocking them down, so y'all picking them up. They don't call me domino, baby, just for nothing. 3, 2, I'm the one. You know I'm a king, wanna have my son. Try to ass fat and she looking younger every day. Got that Benjamin Button. Popped out, now I'm stunned. Push button, gotta keep the engine running. Ain't no staring at it, I can go and get it if I want it. You niggas can't fuck with my squad. No, not at all. If I get your broad, she drops some draws. It's motherfuck the law. Get strappy with some paws. They wonder who we are. We them hustle house dogs. You niggas can't fuck with my squad. No, not at all. If I get your broad, she drops some draws. It's motherfuck the law. Get strappy with some paws. They wonder who we are. We them hustle house dogs.
Real big spender, boss ass nigga, big tripper, my neck 6 figures.
That was Memphis and a little bit of my verse, but you can hear that on Spotify just because, for the sake of time, we got to keep on holding it down. But that's Memphis by It's the Domino featuring myself and Nasty Book. That's gonna be up within the next few days. So let me get back into this rapid fire question asking, right? So this show came into being because Tristan sent me a message on Facebook and somebody had made a comment about marriage. And people being married in the biblical sense, right? What it say in the Bible. And I feel as though, right, like we talked about Erica Kirk, we talked about Charlie Kirk, we talked about the government, we talked about a lot of how religion and these institutions that we participate in, how they're intrinsically linked, right? So my question is, the first question I want to ask is, do you believe people are evolving fast enough in their mindset around commitment in the biblical way, gender roles, and partnership as we see it today?
I mean, fast enough is subjective. I mean, depends on fast enough for who. Fast
Mhm,
enough for me, no. I mean,
mhm.
but fast enough for me, yes. Also, because it's not as far as I think I would like it to be, but it's certainly further than where it was, 10, 15 years ago. And I don't know, I'm not sure that we've evolved as much as it is that we've been exposed, right? And so what and I was at a Bible class this Wednesday, and a guy, he read a scripture about the things that God hates. Um, Homosexuality wasn't in the list, but like when he finished, he went like straight to homosexuality. And so I just asked, I said, hey, listen, I'm not saying that the Bible doesn't say that, in other places, but I'm asking, I'm wondering how you bring that up when that's not even mentioned in the passage, that you read. And so then there was another guy in there who was like, well, there's an agenda, and so that's why it's a focus. And my thing is this,
But
the
who got
things,
the agenda though? Like it sounds like
yeah,
he got an
that,
agenda.
and that's exactly what I said. I said, man, the only agenda was the person who deviated from a list of 7 things and started talking about something that wasn't on the list. I said, there's an
Mhm.
agenda there. I said, and then there's an agenda that you have, because the fact that you're saying that there's an agenda, that's a talking point
Yeah,
um, of somebody else's agenda. I was like, listen, man, we in here, we say the Bible says that there's nothing new under the sun, nothing new.
yeah.
I was like, and so if you believe that, that means that everything that you see, gay, transgender, it's not new. It's just
Mhm.
new to you because now you're exposed to, right?
Yeah.
We have the phone, we have our phones, and so we see it more. Most of the time, that's where we see this stuff on the internet. But also, Now you aren't allowed to be violent, right? You aren't allowed to hate people, right?
Yeah.
You aren't allowed to, and I say you were typically never allowed, but certainly you could do it with much less backlash then than you can now. And so
Yeah.
because of that, people are more willing to live more expressively, more freely, and so they've always been around, right?
Yeah.
And so there's no agenda, other than to let people live without people screaming that there's an agenda.
Yeah.
And so
Let people be free.
right, and so in that way, no, no, we're not evolved, right? Because
Yeah.
people still can't see something that they're not involved in and not just go on about their business.
Yeah. Just let boys be gay. Like, leave them alone. You know what I mean? Like, free love, bro. Free love.
Yeah,
Everybody love how you love, as long as you ain't mess with nobody else, bro.
right. I
Love how
mean, and
you
even if
love.
and because like even if you thought it was a even if let's say like even if you hold like it's a it's a sin, so again, there's a way that we talk about homosexuality, and gayness and gender discussions that's very different than the rest of the scene.
Hmm.
And so it's hard
Definitely gets a
to
bright light.
yeah, man. It's really hard to because then if you say, man, just let people be, then it's you're automatically condoning. Well, no, that's not the case. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean that, but it just means that it's not my job to judge, right? you
Mm-mm.
know I, and I don't have to at this point in the year of our Lord 2026. uh, a person doesn't even have to step foot in a church to know that most churches teach that homosexuality is wrong and it's a sin. I was like, so I
Yeah.
don't have to beat people up about that. I don't have to beat them down about that. What I have to do is what Jesus commanded me to do, is which is to love my neighbor as myself.
Right. Beautifully stated. All right. Next question. A lot of people still see marriage as a religious obligation, right? We talked about trad wives today. We talked about Erica Kirk. She talks about serving her husband and how it just fills her with the spirit of the Lord and, those things. Um, do you think that understanding is helping us or hurting us? I'm gonna say what I think. I think it is hurting us. I think it's creating a cloud of delusion, honestly. Um, but I would like to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, man. Anybody. This is like my hill to die on right now. When dealing with the church, I just think the church absolutely uh, teaches marriage in the wrong way. I think it's absolutely hurting us because we idolize it.
Hmm.
Man, a lot of Christians, man, treat marriage, as the pinnacle, right? You like,
Yeah,
if you like all of a sudden you'll stop sinning if only you can get married, right?
so untrue.
Because we hyper focus on sex, right? Like, if it's not sex, alcohol, or lies, then there are no other sins.
Hmm.
And when you really look at it, man, marriage was never an obligation. Um,
It was the
for
contract.
for the Christian, when Jesus was teaching marriage in Matthew 19, I think first of all, when you read it, he was responding to a question.
Yeah,
All right. And so I think a lot of times we teach it like as if marriage was at the forefront, of the Lord's mind, and it wasn't. He talked about it because they asked about it.
yeah.
Same thing with Paul, right? He talked about it because they asked about it, right? And it's what they
Hmm.
were dealing with. And until we like, the Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and its righteousness, right? And all these things will be added unto you, right? And
Yeah,
so, like, seeking the kingdom, man, that's service. Like, serving the poor, visiting the sick, getting involved with a prison ministry, all of these things that I'm trying to be better at.
yeah.
Man, marriage, I don't need to be married to be a good Christian, right? I
Hmm.
don't need to be married to take care of the poor, right? To love, like that's just not a thing. And really,
Yeah.
really look at it, man. Jesus specifically, I think it's Matthew 19:12, where the
Hmm.
Jews are asking him. He tells them, man, he said, some people, become eunuchs. He said, by force, um, by some were born eunuchs. He said some were made eunuchs by force. And he said, then some choose to be eunuchs for the service of the kingdom. Now we've
Mm-hmm.
all been watching like Game of Thrones and these shows, and so what that's a reference to, because kingships were more in style back then, was that the king's guard, right? The people who were in service to the king weren't allowed to have family.
Mm-hmm.
Their entire life was dedicated in service to the king.
That's what
And
Paul
so,
said.
yeah, he said it.
That's what
Paul
Paul
said it.
said.
He said it's better to be single than it is to be married, because married people care about the things of the world, which
Mm-hmm.
are, he goes on to define it as, to define things of the world, how to please the husband or the wife. When you listen to how the church has traditionally talked about the things of the world, we make the things of the world, going to concerts, going to the parties, or playing cards. Like,
Smoking
yeah,
weed.
yeah, yeah, yes. Like, but your marriage, it like your marriage, reproduction. That's a thing of the world too. Like,
Yeah.
there are monogamous animals out there,
Yeah, they're
right?
not
And so,
standing on that.
yeah, like, so if you get married to one person and have kids, I mean, you've done what some animals do, and you want to be applauded, and it's just not a thing. And so,
Yeah.
and then we use it as a measure of morality. We look down on people who aren't married, and then that's reinforced or undergirded, right, by the government, because the
Mm-hmm.
government gives larger tax breaks to married people than
Yeah.
single. It's almost a punishment to be
It
single,
is. It is. It's a
right?
scarlet letter. It's a scarlet
Right?
letter for sure.
And you bring that all the way back to where they're trying to get us to, which is the SAVE Act, right?
Yeah.
Because the SAVE Act takes voting power mainly out of the hands of women
Mm-hmm.
and into the hands of the husband. But if
Yeah.
you're not married, they can't do that.
Yeah.
And so they need you to believe, right? The the powers that be need you to believe, and so the church reinforces this belief that marriage is necessary. And if
Yeah.
you don't do it, you're less than in society. We're going to ostracize you until you get into this situation, so that we can make sure that we keep the control and the subjugation in the ways that we like.
Yeah. The more and more we talk, the more and more it seems there's actually no separation between church and state. It's all the same shit.
It is.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Great response though. Great response. Um, last question. And then we're gonna wrap up. We've got one more song from Mr. Domino, baby. Shout out to Mr. Domino in the chat. This next song is gonna be by Mr. Domino and the other troll in the chat, Freddie Inglewood. It's a song called Mr. Bartender. It's a lovely song. But we're gonna get into this last question first. If marriage was practiced today as it was written in the Bible, what would that actually look like? And is it sustainable? Would the trad wife movement, is that ordained by the Lord? Is that the way that the church says that a husband and a wife should behave? When we look at the mountaintop of white America and we see our pale leaders up there, right? Trump and Melania, you know what? And I don't give a fuck. Who cares? Hearing the first lady with a Russian accent on the news the other day freaked me the fuck out. Not even. Oh man, that was so surreal, bro. It was so surreal to hear this, right? Like, because I'm an American, this foreign accent representing America, right? And it's literally the accent of like our American adversary, like our direct adversary. Like, it's like having a Chinese lady be the first lady, and she's up there like speaking, her best, doing her best English impression. Like, I was like, I had to like turn around and look. The first ladies at the peace summit with the other first ladies, and I'm hearing female Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's crazy. Like, crazy.
Very much so.
Crazy. Crazy. But back to my question. What would it look like? And would we be able to sustain that today?
Absolutely not, because the women, or at least the black women, would kill us.
They're not having that. They like
Yeah,
Sarah. Have you
yeah,
seen
yeah,
that
yeah,
show on
yeah.
Hulu with Sarah? They it's like they talk about Sarah and what's the Sarah?
I haven't seen it.
I'm gonna have to send it to you, but please
All
finish.
right, let me
Please.
check it out. But yeah, man, no, absolutely not, man. You know, historically, traditionally, biblically, women were property.
Yeah.
They weren't people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so they didn't have a say in much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, they purchased. Like there were rules. I think it's Exodus 21, right? That lays out rules for marriage, right? And you have to be, I mean, essentially compensated, right?
Yeah.
For for the man, like the father has to be compensated the value for his daughter,
Is that
right?
what
So
they call the bride price?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
there's a bride price. I
Yeah.
mean, and that was, I mean, in even I think Jesus kind of references that in the New Testament. Don't quote me on it, but like yes, I mean, essentially, women cost, right? Like
Yeah.
I think one of the most famous stories that we hear about is I believe it's Jacob, um, who worked for Leah, the older sister. He really wanted Rachel, but in that traditional society, the older sister had to get married first.
Mm-hmm.
So he worked 7 years for Leah, had to work another 7 years for Rachel because like it costs. It costs. And so if it worked today, how it did then, like women wouldn't have a say so. Number one, they'd be getting married at 13, 14, 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have a say so. It would cost you some land, some cattle. We don't have that, so it might cost you a car, maybe stock, whatever. And it's just something that's not sustainable because most people don't have those things,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that's why, when the Jews asked Jesus about marriage, he took, the time to kind of break down and change some of those norms that existed.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I mean, it was, it's grossly unfair to women.
Yeah.
Uh, women, they also couldn't file divorce for divorce directly. If I remember correctly, if a woman wanted to file for divorce during biblical times, she would have to get a man to go file for it on her behalf.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and even then, men aren't ruling against men in those time periods. And so it's just something that I think we need to really look at, how marriage evolved over time. I know, the popular, not pop, because the nuclear family. You talk about, white. I'm not even sure they believe. Because if you really check into like conservative white men, like in their like marriage status, a lot of those guys have been married 2, 3 times. They talk about black fathers, like white men, they be some baby dad.
They do
They
be
have
baby
kids.
daddies.
They have kids outside of wedlock too, like anybody else, in great numbers. And so there's this real, especially from the Republican side, the conservative side of Christianity, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah.
And I think if people were allowed to really, if we were allowed to have real conversations about marriage, how we got here, how it evolved over time. I think another problem is that Christianity, we think we have a monopoly on marriage, as if marriage popped up when Christianity did. I don't know how you can think that when you read the Old Testament, people were getting married, all around the world long before Christianity existed. So the idea that the Christian standard, or principle of marriage is necessarily the right one. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure. I wouldn't feel comfortable saying yes, this is it. Just because the more I read the Bible, the more I realize I don't know, and the more I know I need to dedicate some studying, to really figure this thing out and to make sure that the things that we require of people, that we teach people, that we make so certain, that we make sure that we actually know, because I think there has been a real tendency to not take the Bible fully, within the proper context, within the proper cultural setting, and to misapply that to today's time, I think is dangerous.
Yeah. Man, eloquently stated. Eloquently stated. I have been blessed by this conversation. I hope everybody that has been listening has been in and out of the chat. Appreciate the chat. Shout out to the chat. Everybody that has interacted with us.
The
Dropped a
flat Earth,
comment or said
my
anything.
my man with the flat Earth is hilarious.
Yeah, yeah. That's Fred. Who finna be on this next song? That's Fred. That's Fred.
Oh
Super
shit!
troll. Super troll. Super troll. Yo,
Right
so
on the ties.
Yeah, yeah, no, I totally think like right. I wouldn't be if black people switch places and we had to have white slaves, I would be good to my white slaves. They would be cool. They would be cool. I would get them long sleeve shirts and hats with brims, you know what I mean? So they don't sunburn. Make sure
Yeah.
there's plenty of sunscreen. Yeah, for sure.
Give
It
them
would be great.
little black girl sunscreen.
Yeah, yeah,
Sunscreen. Let 'em rock
it would
out.
be
Yeah,
great. It
yeah,
would be
yeah, yeah,
great.
yeah.
It'd be great. Yeah, they'd be off on
You know what? Oh,
Sundays.
but before you go, because you made a good point. Um, with that, so to the point earlier that we made about that, with so highly religious people, right? It goes hand in hand with the party, right? That you
Mhm.
with party affiliation, except for black people. It doesn't matter how religious black people are, with any level of religiousness that we may be, we always lean Democrat. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it don't.
Um,
It don't.
and that's because our mantra is one of taking care of people.
Yeah.
You know, because we
We
know
all
what it's
about
like. We know what it's like to be at the bottom, bro. You know, we still at the bottom. I told
yeah, we
somebody else
all
the
about
other day,
spreading love.
man, who if Christianity, sometimes we don't like to deal with race. Okay, so again, don't deal with race. Just help the people at the bottom. And if you look
Yeah.
at the bottom, it's a lot of black folks at the bottom, a lot of
Yeah.
brown folks at the bottom, and so that's why I concentrate uh, uh, my work there.
Yeah, just help somebody. Just help somebody. Like any way you can. It don't even gotta be a lot. It can be a little. As long as you lend a helping hand and you speak out and you speak up for people who can't do it for themselves. You're doing the Lord's work. You walking in the trail of Jesus. You walking in Jesus' footsteps. If you know what I mean, like it's every day. Like as long as you're trying to help somebody, bro, you living like Jesus. That's it. Like because that's all Jesus was about. Jesus was about chilling and making sure that people wasn't getting fucked over. It ain't even that hard. It's not hard. It's not hard to live like Jesus. You just gotta try. Try to help somebody. If you see somebody struggling, you know what I'm saying? Maybe it could be as simple as helping a lady put her groceries in the car, a hole in the door. You know what I mean? Like this, it ain't nothing extreme. You
Yeah,
don't got to
man.
give
The
nobody no
look,
money or
yeah,
nothing.
man. The little stuff we
Just
overlook. Yeah, and that's the church fault, man. We make it seem like you gotta. Man,
yeah,
yeah, we'll say this for another conversation.
yeah.
Some
Just
other time. Yeah.
just reach out and touch somebody's hand.
Brother, brother Fred, I need that the flat Earth research in my inbox, man. Send that to me so I can check that out.
Man, you talk about a rabbit hole. Like, look. So, but we're gonna get up out of here. We got one more song. Then we're gonna wrap up with the good brother Tristan. This is Mr. Bartender. Now, they ain't dropped this. So this is a exclusive, right? Because I don't, I think only people in the inner circle heard it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be the top of the top to hear this one. You feel me? So I'm letting y'all in the circle. This the top of the top. Y'all over here with Pan. So exclusive drop. It's the Domino Baby, Freddie ING. It's the West Coast connection. You didn't even know you need it, right? Let me make sure that my background music turned up. This is Mr. Bartender.
One more time for you want the smoke, you best believe I got that pop on me. Like my location, you can never get the drop on me. My music got her dancing, doing TikToks for me. Think you fooling, but you know I got this mop on me. Stone cold nigga, man, I used to have that rock on me. Where I put it, man, you know it's in my sock on me. Like Benny Hunters, you know I still got that walk on me. Mr. Bartender, cause you know I got them shots on me. Mr. Bartender, cause you know I got them shots on me. Mr. Bartender, cause you know I got them shots. You know I'm riding on my solo, yeah, I like to keep it jello. Shorty wanna ride me like a horse, I'm talking Ralph Lauren Polo. I ain't into taking photos, but right now I'm looking oh so fresh. Got cash, but I can show the rest. You drop before I pull the rest. She wanna ride with me, cause I got some tricks I can show the bitch. Getting bags, breaking niggas, pimping. You know the rest, I'm top 10, I'm locked in. Top of the totem, yes, toe to toe. I'm trained to go, domino for sure the best. Walk-ins, a light 10 to get it poppin', stop in. Can't do that, got no other option. Rock in, big heavy metal, whoever block getting popped in. You gon' be gorgeous because you dropped dead. You want the smoke, you best believe I got that pop on me. Like my location, you can never get the drop on me. My music got her dancing, doing tiki-toks for me. Think you fooling, bitch, you know I got this mop on me. Stone cold nigga, man, I used to have that rock on me. Where I put it, man, you know it's in my sock on me. Like Benny Hunters, you know I still got that rock on me. Mr. Bartender, cause you know I got them shots on me. Mr. Bartender, cause you know I got them shots on me. Mr. Bartender, cause you know I got them shots on me.
Feel like Dr. Strange, how I came up off them blocks. Shit, I be with wifey, I can't fuck around with no thought. Knowing that I'm him, how the fuck you say that I'm not? Bitch, I'm like the money line, I double up with no stocks. Blow it like the money team, I always come with schemes. Just business, it ain't personal, ain't nothing in between. Do just what I say, you know exactly what I mean. Yeah, I'm at your front door, got a budget like the ring. Only hit her once and then I pass it to the team. Diamonds twinkle like 182, you know it blink. Shit, we elevating, we ain't got no time to link. And if you want that smoke, we got that package like Blue Dream.
You want the smoke, you best believe I got that pop on me. Like my location, you can never get the drop on me. My music got her dancing, doing tiki-toks for me.
Yo. Pew, 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 pew. Them boys be sliding. They be sliding. I love that damn song. Love it. My brother first sent me that song. I was like, oh my God, this is so good. Why don't you put this on TikTok? This is so good. It be like that though. You gotta twist these artists' arms so they put their music out. You gotta start shaming people. My partner Tim, he was the first artist that I previewed his music on the show. Tim is a phenomenal rapper from southwest side of Houston, Texas, and he drops music in spurts. He's like dropping music again and being more consistent. And when he first was like, yo, I'm finna drop this music, I'm like, please give it to me. Give it to me right now. Give it to me right now so I can play it. Like, cause if I like it, somebody that like listen to me talk might like it. So, let's share and care. Let's walk in the Jesus way, even if they do use a lot of bad words in their music. So, Tristan, I want to thank you for, being an amazing guest today and for, helping to enlighten my audience on all things social community and especially from a religious perspective. I think you are a wealth of knowledge, from, just the way that religion shapes our community and like how we can be able to use it better as a tool to be able to help liberate people and educate people. I think you're doing a phenomenal job on your walk, brother. I'm a fan.
Appreciate it.
No problem, man. You got any final words for the people?
Yeah. Man, one book that I'd suggest people to check out, The Foucault Reader by Michael Foucault. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to because of my background. There it is right there, The Foucault Reader, Michael Foucault. Man, this book really helped me to make the Bible practical. Again, I think struggle for me was that the stuff that they were preaching, like I hear you, but it's not realistic to what we're actually dealing with on the day to day. And so I think that's a great book that kind of helps fold uh, biblical principle and philosophy together to make living practical. So definitely check it out. If you're in Houston, April 19th, man, I'm preaching Sunday morning at Highland Heights Church of Christ. That's 1005 West New York, North Side, Acres Home. May 3rd, Sunday evening. I think it's 4308 Stonewall Street in Fifth Ward. Again, North Side, that's right off I-10 in Waco. Man, yeah, hey, I'd say come check it out, man. I think there is a turn happening with the church, with young preachers, man, and I think the wealth of information that's out there that's available now is really, really helping preachers, at least the ones I know, make greater strides to listen more and judge less. And I think that's key key to being I guess a key role in the community once again. So yeah, man, just come check us out.
Hey, man, you heard it here first.
Even if you don't agree, we need the critiques too. We need the critiques too, man. That stuff matters, man. Anybody that's preaching, teaching, not willing to have the stuff that they teaching question, critique, man, I wouldn't trust him. So yeah, man, that's the brother Fred. He was going hard earlier. I appreciate that type of stuff. Yeah, man.
Fred is an interesting character, man. I'm gonna have to get y'all in the same room. I'm gonna be having an event sometime this month. And I'm gonna invite all the homies and make sure everybody get together. We fellowship. You know what I'm saying? We do it the right way. I want to thank my little brother Dominic for being a gracious artist today, and sending me those songs, and allowing me to preview his art on my platform. I appreciate you, bro. And that's all I got, man. I think we made a banger today. I'm not even gonna lie. I think we did a damn thing. It's gonna,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? I mean, I think it happened. I think it happened. And I think everybody in the chat would agree. This was phenomenal. I look forward to having you again on the show, man. I really want to get a panel of brothers together, like maybe have like a live chat or something like that. I think that'd be cool. I think that would be real cool,
pull up on you.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm definitely gonna do that. And I'm putting this on the record. I'm gonna figure out this Black Sentiment Survey thing. So if you are listening, you are under the sound of my voice and you want to help to be able to find out like what the needs, wants, and concerns of Black Houstonians are, or Black residents of Harris County, please reach out to me. You know what I mean? If you got an idea, you got some money, anything that will help to be able to further the mission, to be able to just better organize Black people in our region. We can start here, we can take over the world, you know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it. Please help, please be a benefit, you know what I'm saying? And, WWJD. I think if you don't take nothing from this, you know what I'm saying, what would Jesus do? And if you wouldn't do that, don't do it. Right? I think it's just that simple. You know what I mean? Like, at least try. At least try not to do it. Help somebody. Reach out to touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place if you can. All right, y'all. It's my time to go. Dominic, I'm not playing any more of your music. Thank you, Melinda. Love you to death. I'm not playing no more, twin. I'm not playing. It's time to go, dog. I'm hungry. This is a ham sandwich with my name on it somewhere. I don't even eat ham. Peace and love, chicken grease and all of that. Stay black, stay righteous.